So apparently Joe Rogan asked Poilievre when he was on the podcast about Donald Trump's 51st state comments screwing over him winning the election.
There's a narrative in America, and the narrative is that you were about to win and your party was about to win, but then Trump came along and said he was going to turn Canada into the 51st state, and everybody went crazy. Is that accurate?
I wouldn't say they went crazy. I mean, it was.
They got very upset.
They should be upset, though. I mean,
well, it's a crazy thing to say.
It is a crazy thing to say. Canada's not for sale. We're never going to be the 51st state. We love Americans as neighbors and friends, but we want to be uniquely and we want to be sovereign as Canadians. It's our country. It's where we grow up. You're a patriot as an American. I'm a patriot as a Canadian. It's where my grandfather arrived. It's where our collective ancestors put on military uniforms and sailed to fight wars. It's where our grandkids are going to live. We're very proudly Canadian. So we're never going to be the 51st state. And I just wish he'd knock that shit off so that we can get back to talking about the things that we can do as two separate but two separate countries that are actually friends.
Did that really have that much of an effect up there? Like, did people take him seriously?
I think at first everyone thought it was a joke.
No one,
because we've always had
joke.
these jokes like, one day we're going to take over.
Why isn't he? Look, I'm not a conservative voter, but I don't understand why he's avoiding the question. It would be such a win to answer this with some vulnerability and to just say, yeah, he fucked me. Yeah, those comments fucked me. Yeah, Donald Trump sucks and Canada won't be I get he's doing like the little patriotic thing. He does this little like knock that shit off. Like way to break the mold there, Poilievre. You're killing it, Pierre. But in all honesty, like he's on this podcast not to win American voters. He's on here to win Canadian voters. So like in this moment, what you should do is you need to distance yourself from being any way associated with MAGA and Donald Trump or anything like that. That's why this fucking happened. The 51st state comments came along and that put everyone into a panic mode, but also people were seeing what the Trump administration was doing in America. The middle ground voters got concerned about that we would vote in a conservative government who on many levels looked to kind of align with that anti-woke agenda and that we were going to somehow fall into that same problem of this conservative government running rampant on throughout the country. Okay. Again, we'll never conservatives here are nothing compared to the states. However, that spooked a lot of voters. And I don't understand right now, Poilievre's lack of vulnerability to just say, yeah, he fucked me. I was set to be PM. Donald Trump sucks and Canadians rock and he can eat a bag of dicks. That's how easy it is. Instead, he's just keeping the storybook well, that's where my grandfather landed. It's whatever, man. I don't know. Maybe it's because he knows that there is Maple MAGA or Albertans in his camp who kind of still want that rhetoric and, the anti-woke agenda and all that. And he knows conservative voters want that. So I feel like he's just playing it so close. And that's why he's not able to just break free. But the problem is this stance isn't going to bring him. It's not going to convince other voters. It's not, in my opinion, at all. What does he have to lose? He's fucking polling right now with Justin Trudeau numbers against Carney. Although the conservatives and the liberals are close, his numbers suck.
Vermont and Detroit should be part of Canada and all that stuff. But then he kept saying it, and it became a lot of people got upset about it, and I think understandably so.
Understandably, yeah.
You should be the most upset.
It's a crazy thing to say.
It is a crazy thing to say.
I talked to him on the phone about it. It was
dog.
So funny. He's at first I was joking, but then people were like, it's a good idea.
You're on the phone.
No,
that's not a good idea.
What fucking world are we living in where Joe Rogan is on the phone with Donald Trump, the president of the United States, talking about him annexing Canada or taking over Canada? We're in the worst timeline. if I'm Poilievre and I'm sitting across from him there and he says that, I'd be like, why is he having this conversation? Why are you talking to him on the phone? What's going on? Why? I'd be like, get him on the phone. Tell him he's a fucking sack of shit. It's so weird, man. Look, Poilievre should be like, yeah, he fucked me. He blew my 27-point lead. Honestly, he should be so fucking mad. Or at least, like, he should have Jordan Peterson in the background. He didn't know. He didn't know.